Whoa, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Buffet Hour. Dropkick Zombie coming to you here. I got my boy Jedi Master Fat Ass.
How y'all doing?
The Entertainer Man's not here today, so he's no-showed us, but hopefully he'll be back this Sunday. I know he adds a lot, but hey, we're gonna keep the show rolling. So, speaking of Fat Ass, how was that Fazoli's?
Oh Lord.
Did you enjoy your Fazoli's?
You know I did. You know I love those breadsticks. I can't get enough. You know, you just get one and then a second one and then all of a sudden you've half a dozen in and you're like, what the hell happened to my life?
Yeah.
But you know,
I could tell you many a times, bro. Like I remember, like that's like me. I remember like graham crackers. I remember one time I ate one graham cracker, and then like shortly after that, I looked back and like 2 stacks were gone out of the box, and I don't even remember eating them. Like I ate them, and then like I like they were so good, and I was enjoying them and eating them. And then I hated myself immediately after. Like, I could not even look myself in the mirror. I think they call it a snacksident. I was like, you fat piece of crap. You ate 2 stacks of graham crackers. It's one of them
they
like...
come in those little brown bags, and it's when that little brown bag goes from full to empty, you're just like, what?
Yeah, I know. I'm just like, God.
I ate what?
I can't even go look. I'm like, I'm just ashamed of myself, you know? Like, I hate myself. But yeah, so what you been playing, man? Well, I can already tell you, like, not trying to cut you off before you can even get started, but we've been, so Power World kind of died out for us. We're going to get back to it, but I've been really digging this 6 Days in Fallujah.
Yeah, that game's pretty intense, man. It takes a whole lot of focus, and it's certainly not your Call of Duties and the like, and it's a load of fun though. I'm enjoying playing with you, and I jumped into Hell Let Loose as well, and that game's got me pretty good too. Just the complexity and the size of those maps, it's just a lot of fun to get immersed in, and just a lot of fighting. We've been in some fighting games lately.
Yeah, well, not fighting games, but war games, pretty much. But
yeah, war games. Yeah,
war
fighting on a grand scale for sure.
And it, bro, like, I don't know, like, we sound like we're actually in a tag team or something like that on 6 Days of Fallujah. We're like, God down, go down. Like, you have to do that. You have to call your shots and everything. It's very realistic. Like, it's very intense. It's very anxiety inducing, but also a ton of fun. I've been having, so y'all definitely check out 6 Days of Fallujah and Hell Let Loose. Hell Let Loose was great. God, I suck at it. I think I was managing like, and I mean these campaigns or whatever, these matches could last like 30 minutes, an hour, sometimes probably even 2 hours, and I was averaging maybe 5 kills the whole time. It is very unforgiving, and this guys have been playing it a while. Apparently, it's a pretty old game.
Yeah, it's been around a while, but the thing for me is there's so much you can do that there's such a huge learning curve, and it's not really designed around killing. I mean, yeah, you got to kill the enemy, but it's all about objective, and when you're talking real combat, it's all about objectives. So, you know, in regards to 6 Days in Fallujah, your objective is fairly simple. You know, it's squad tactics. You're taking a single building, or you're eliminating a specific element. But in Hell Let Loose, you're talking about multiple objectives from multiple different angles, using multiple different levels of tactics, including artillery, armor, and multiple different levels of infantry, all designed to do a specific role at a specific time to achieve a goal so that you can move on. And that's just the level of complexity is it's crazy, and I love it. Just how much farther we have to go to learn each and every role and how it works together with all the rest.
Yeah, I'm more of a fan of 6 Days, but like, don't get me wrong, Hell Let Loose is awesome. I enjoyed my time with it, but 6 Days I just love the slowly but surely you got to get from point A to point B, and there's hell between here and point A and over there point B, and you just got to navigate your way through it, slow, steady, but quickly as you can, and everybody's trying to kill you, and like, yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, I'd like to say that a lot of the videos and things on it have got real veterans saying how realistic it is what they went through. And I just want to say that if that's what they went through, God, I respect the hell out of every single one of those guys for sure.
Salute the troops, man. Salute the troops.
Absolutely.
But speaking of hell let loose on Game Pass, our first topic tonight is Xbox going third party, man. I got some pretty strong feelings about this. Like, I don't know. Okay, so first it broke that Hi-Fi Rush, a game that I actually enjoyed. It's like a rhythm-based third-person action game. A lot of fun, very musical. Apparently this year it's going to be moving over to the PlayStation 5. And then not only that, but there's also rumor that that's going to be moving all along. There's a rumor that Starfield, after their next big expansion update, is going to be going to PS5. There's now rumors of Gears of War. There's the new Indiana Jones. I know I'm missing one other than Hi-Fi Rush, but then there's also Indiana Jones. They're saying that they're going to do that deal where it's like 1 year it's going to be on the Xbox exclusively, then they're going to move it over to PS5 after the exclusivity ends. Before I say how I feel, how do you feel about it?
Honestly, having more options, more consoles, in my opinion, is a good thing. Whether this is a good move for Xbox or whether it's a good move for Microsoft or the various big gaming guys, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to play out. I personally like choice, and when you offer me more choice, I like it. I do think that Xbox needs to keep some of their games exclusive, at least for that initial period at the very least, or else that they're not going to have anything over the exclusives coming out of the PlayStation. And, you know, I like choice, but at the same time, if the company goes down because they're not making all the money, it's not worth it.
Okay, so, all right, that's a good take. Then I'm kind of middle ground. Okay, so how I feel about this, and this might be coming from a video game elitist. I don't like to think of myself as one, but I like console exclusivity. Now, I know a lot of people would be happy about this because some people, you know, they have a PlayStation 5 and not an Xbox or whatever. I get that. I'm one of the fortunate enough people to have both. And I'm just thinking, well, what's the point of me having both if I can play pretty soon the new Indiana Jones on my PS5 and not, you know, have a reason to have this Xbox other than Game Pass? You know what I'm saying? I guess that may be me kind of gatekeeping or kind of being, you know, an elitist when it comes to gaming, but I'm not a fan of it. I think it's a bad move. I like console exclusivities. I like, hey, I'm going to get this console because this got this on there. Then I'm going to get that console because it got that on there. Now, you know, like, and maybe like when the little kid in me probably would have liked it because, you know, my parents weren't going to get me more than one console. Either I got a Nintendo or I got a Sega. I didn't have both. Now that I'm an adult, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, like my Xbox Series X, you know, because it had Halo and all that, I remember I went, you know, door dashing and all that stuff to get the money together to pay for that sucker. And I'm just thinking about all that, and I'm like, well, why'd I go through all that when, well, first of all, we ain't really had very many exclusives to begin with since the Xbox Series X launched. Yeah, sure, we got Starfield, but we got half a game in Halo. You know, when it comes to PlayStation, Sony, PS5, they've been having banger after banger. God of War, Horizon, Forbidden West. Just way more than that don't really come to my head, but Xbox, not so much. And now we're not going to have any. I don't even know why I'm saying we, because I'm not an Xbox fanboy or a PlayStation fanboy. Like, if you look online, there's people that are in each camp so dedicated and arguing and crying about it, but it's not that big a deal to me. I'm just not a fan of it. Like, you know, I like having a reason to have two separate consoles. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I can see your point, and from a financial and marketing standpoint, I don't know if they're making the best move here, because it is reducing the value of having an Xbox, but at the same time, most people who want to play Indiana Jones and things like that, if they're able to get it even a couple months early on a console, they're going to buy it on the early console. For instance, you know, I wasn't going to wait for Pal World to come out on something, on PlayStation. I'm not gonna wait. I'm not gonna wait. I'm gonna get it right now because I want to play it. I'm watching everybody play it, and I want to play it on what it's available right now. But if it's going to be available everywhere, that opens it up to players who, like you said, don't have all the consoles. So I think it's a benefit for people who are
yeah. I mean, it is
the economic spectrum for sure.
It is, and when I'm speaking rather selfishly. I'm not even going to try to hide that. But yeah, like I enjoy having both and I guess that's just me being an elitist. I like to have everything. But I mean, it is what to me it does maybe kind of throw off the signal that Microsoft and or Xbox is kind of throwing in the towel, because they have been outsold big time ever since the days of the Xbox 360. That's the last time that they were the leading, console in the console war. So I'm kind of looking at this, okay, fine, we want our games to be putting out somewhere. Not a lot of people are buying the Xbox Series X and S. People are on PS5, so hey, let's let them play and enjoy our games too. It just kind of seems like they're throwing in the towel. And I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see an Xbox console in the next generation, if they just become purely a third party. And I really don't want to see that, but that is a big possibility. The PS6 may have Game Pass on it. We may see Halo whatever after Halo Infinite and beyond on, the next Sony console. And be that it may happen. It's a possibility. I mean, I won't hate it, but, I kind of like having, an Xbox and having them separated, but that's just me. I mean, look, it's already telling already. There's already reports that Grand Theft Auto 6 won't be coming to the Xbox series of consoles until a full year after it releases on the PS5 or PC for that matter. So, it doesn't, just looking at the market from how I'm seeing it here, it doesn't, and it may be a good thing because, let me backtrack a little bit. It may be a good thing because the whole point of their business, Microsoft, ever since I guess late in the Xbox One is life cycle or whatever, they were no longer about being a company that wants to just sell you a console, kind of like Sony and Nintendo. Sony and Nintendo, their main thing, they want to sell you their hardware. They want you to also buy their software to go into the hardware. They had a different strategy this whole time. This whole current console generation and kind of the last half of the last generation, they had this whole a different strategy. They want you in their ecosystem. They don't necessarily want you to have an Xbox. Like, they just want you to play their games. They want you to subscribe to Game Pass and play their games, and they don't really care if you're playing that on an Xbox, Series X, S, or even on your cell phone. They just want you to subscribe to them.
I think Game Pass has been a major game changer for Xbox. I think having someone who's willing to pay, $11, $12, $15 a month, depending on whether you're Ultimate or whatnot, is more beneficial to them as a company than if you buy their games. I mean, that makes sense and it does at the same time. But it's like the consistent every month they get paid the same amount from the same person, where you might only buy a AAA game once a year. Some people only buy one or two games a year, big games, and the rest they wait for when they're on sale or things like that. I mean, that's how I do it. I only buy the games that I know that I'm going to replay, unless it's on PC, and then I wait for a deal or whatnot. And I think that's become Xbox's kind of focus is, well, if we put all these games out on Game Pass on day one, these people are going to want to keep Game Pass regardless of whether it's on our console or other consoles. We will win because they will be buying Game Pass. And if they buy Game Pass Ultimate and they play it on PC as well, that benefits us as well. I think that's become their issue. Now, that might mean that they're going to reduce their budget on making games, which I think would be a tragedy. They've got some great titles, and I think that they should continue to make good games. But it's a completely different department within Xbox, and maybe that's something that they're looking at is separating the Xbox from the game production.
Now,
Microsoft.
Now, and I could be misquoting the numbers and sound like an idiot, but this ties into the whole. This kind of ties into the whole thing of physical media going away, which I am definitely not a fan of that. As you can see back here, you know what I'm saying? I love physical media, and like a telltale sign of this, what's going on with the Xbox, another grim, like as far as them being a hardware company, it's looking grim for them because, I mean, they just laid off like 1,900 people, and it was on their physical media side of things. So that's not a good tell either. I think they're really going to be going full speed ahead with this, not necessarily being a hardware company or even a physical software company, but going full speed ahead as a games as a service company. And I'm not talking about games as a service like the Suicide Squad game that just came out, or even Destiny, but like, hey, we're a service that offers you games, which necessarily ain't necessarily a bad thing, but just me being selfish again, I like buying my games physically. And even since like Game Pass has done, I look back at my collection, even since Game Pass has been out, like you can see all my PS5 and PS4 games right here. My Xbox collection is like that big because most of the games that I play on Xbox are on Game Pass. I don't really own a lot of physical Xbox One or Series X games physically because, I mean, like I said, I'm playing most of them on Game Pass, and I only buy them when I find them like on sale or something, or I just happen to be like, oh, look, that game is on Xbox. I'll get it for $7 or $10. So, I mean, just me personally, I'm not a fan of it, but hey, it is good for the consumer, in my opinion. It can be good for the consumer, but it's definitely looking like a grim future for Microsoft Xbox as a hardware company. So, but
well,
time will
I'm
tell.
I'm not sure I agree with you in terms of good for the consumer. It would be good for the consumer if it stops fairly soon. What I see is we're seeing more and more game developers who are saying very arrogant things like, well, the gamers don't own their games. It's our game.
Okay.
They just have their permission
Let
to use
me
it.
correct that real quick. Hang on.
Yeah.
I'm not saying about Xbox being a games as a service, Game Pass, getting to enjoy their games everywhere. That's good for the consumer. You know, one monthly fee, get new releases, whatever. Yeah. That's fine. I've even liked that. I was saying the physical media. I don't think that's good for the consumer at all, personally.
Well, I agree with you on it disappearing, and it goes into what I just said. If they're starting to become, of all these game companies and host companies are starting to become the opinion that gamers don't own their games, which if you are a Game Pass user, you don't own that game. You're renting that game for the time that it's available on Game Pass and you have it downloaded. So you never own that game. You might beat that game, might be your favorite game. But if Game Pass decides it's no longer putting it on Game Pass that month, you lose it, right? So I think that in terms of physical media, you own that game. But where Game Pass is, you're renting that game. You know, and yes, you're renting a whole lot of games at once, or the opportunity to have a whole lot of games at once. There is a difference between renting your game and owning it. I can go back and play a game I own anytime I want. You know, the developer be damned.
It happened to me.
Microsoft Game Pass says they're done having this on console and it's my favorite game and I want it, I gotta buy it. But what if there comes a time where you can't buy it anymore? You can only rent it. So you have to have one of these services, whether it's PlayStation or Xbox or Steam or whatever. And that's the only way that you're able to play games is by renting. I think that is bad for the consumer.
It happened to me not long ago. I had started playing on Game Pass Yakuza 0. And I was playing it for a little while, getting really into it. I put it down for about a month or so. Then I was like, all right, let me go back to Yakuza 0. I tried to go play it. Apparently, I missed that they pulled it off. Now, it's back on there now. They brought it back, but they pulled off all the Yakuza games for a while off of Game Pass. So, yeah, I mean, it's happened to me. So then, I mean, what I strictly did, luckily, GameStop had one of those deals. If you buy more used games, you save money. So I bought the whole Yakuza series on the PS4. So now, hey, I can play it anytime I want. I can just walk back up to that shelf, grab it out of my collection, pop the disc in, and go. And then I mean, we've seen like a lot of people will argue us down about digital media. By digital media, I mean we're getting in a totally separate topic here, but digital media, I'm not gonna lie, it is pretty convenient to just sit on your couch and switch games or whatnot, or having all your games in a hard drive. But I mean, it just, we've seen example after example of games like being pulled off of the shelf because licenses with music, licenses with different imagery and stuff, those aren't forever. They run out. And if a game is like on Steam or whatnot and the license expired for something that's in the game, they have no choice but to put it out and start renegotiating. And a lot of times these companies are like, okay, this is an old game. We don't need the license for this song for this old game. We might as well just pull it down. Ain't nobody playing that. And they'll just pull it down and think that we won't notice. It happens a lot. I think Metal Gear Solid 2 not long ago, they had something in the game that was licensed, and then they had to pull it off of Steam and GOG because that license expired. So you can no longer get the game. Yeah, if you bought it already, you can still download it. But say, hey, years down the line, want to show my kid, hey, check out what I was playing when I was your age, Metal Gear Solid 2. You can't do that because it's not available. So then you're going to have to go, and this is where this is going to mess up the physical media. Already, physical media games, GameCube games are high. Wii U games are high because they just shut down the Wii U eShop. I think they're going to, or they just did, one of the two. They just shut that down. As soon as they shut down that Wii U eShop where you can get the games for a normal price, the physical games skyrocketed. I got Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker re-release for the Wii U. I bought it for $20 at a flea market. I look now, that game is like over $100 now since they shut down the Wii U market, eShop market, and that's where that comes into place. So now I can't show my kid Metal Gear Solid 2, which I could. I do have Metal Gear Solid 2 on the PS2 right behind me, but just say they took it down. Now Metal Gear Solid 2, unless they re-release it on a package, which they already have, it'll probably skyrocket to over $100. Now to show my kid this game, I got to go buy it. I'm being long-winded here, but you get what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, and like I said, I'm a guy who's all about choice, right? And I like that if someone wants to buy physical media, they should be able to buy physical media, and it should be affordable, based on the price of the game. Maybe not as cheap as the digital version. Now, an issue I have is when you have a $69.99 game that you buy digitally, and the physical media costs the same. How in the hell is that possible?
They didn't get charged. They didn't have to pay.
Never cost the same.
They didn't pay for manufacture or anything. That's bullcrap too. If you're gonna buy digital and not own a disc or a case or something, they should throw you a discount at least. I agree with that's always an argument that I had.
Yeah,
but
and for me,
and
I
then
think
again,
there should be a choice. If you want to rent. If you want to buy. But if you take one of those options away from me, I'm going to be very pissed off.
And then again, on the other hand, like physical media goes on sale a lot more than digital. Like if
especially later on,
yeah. I mean, Walmart, not necessarily Nintendo or Sony or Microsoft. Walmart, they'll just put a game on sale that they just have. You know what I'm saying? They'll discount it before the actual video game company will discount it, the physical edition of it. I mean, if they, like now when it comes to media, the company themselves, which Nintendo barely ever does, like their first party titles, they remain 90% of the time at a $60 price tag, now $70 with the new Zelda, on that eShop. But you can look at Walmart, seems like every other month they're putting the physical version of Zelda $10, $20 off. So I mean that's just another drawback.
It never makes sense to me to have a digital version that costs more than a physical media because it just doesn't make sense. It's the same damn game, it's the same product. One should be more expensive because it has a physical value. The other one's just basically a promise. And I mean it's the same as a dollar versus a piece of gold. One has promise and one doesn't. So I mean it's just you could take the value, you could take the digital away at any time. You could say there's a problem with the system. You can say there's a problem with the server. Hell, you can even make it so hard to log in that you can't log in. I think Ubisoft has locked me out of my game. I can't play any Ubisoft game because they want me to spend like 45 minutes to an hour proving the hell who I am. That's bullshit. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have to do that. I think Blizzard did the same thing to me. If I don't play your game for 6 months, I shouldn't have to go through the Spanish Inquisition just to play my own damn game. And I think that's becoming more and increasing of an issue. as piracy is an issue and things like that on digital media. So
Well, I mean,
I see where you're coming from on it. I just personally don't
one
like
last
having so many
example.
discs around.
One last example. I don't like it either. I'll be honest with you, but I do it. I got a little holder now. Another thing that I did was, I remember. Okay, so I have games on Steam, and all of my Steam games. Well, I mean, they're digital, of course, but for instance, I had my Steam Deck on an airplane, and when you go up in the air, I didn't want to pay the $9.99 to get internet on my Steam Deck. So I go to play my games, mind you, that I have already downloaded, that are installed on the Steam Deck. I go to load up the game.
And it requires online
check in. Yeah, you have to check
for
in.
For a single player game, yeah.
Yeah, you have to check in to make sure, hey, you own this, right? I mean, yeah, I bought it from y'all. So I couldn't play my single player game that I have downloaded to the hard drive on the Steam Deck because I had to do a online check-in, and I couldn't do it because I was 1,000 feet in the air. Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of
it's
So I mean, it is what it is. I don't want to see physical media go. I don't want to see console exclusivity go. I mean, to me, that kind of it's fun to me. But also, I'm going to say that's just me being selfish, and I'm sure a lot of you will enjoy it, and that's cool. I don't hate it, but not a fan of it. So switching gears now. All right, so Budlight has been in a little bit of a pickle. No, we're not going to go to that yet. Let's talk about another entertainment topic. The Last Airbender. So what have you seen about this so far? Right there. I never got into it. I know you like it. Now I did see the M. Night Shyamalan movie of The Last Airbender.
Oh God, oh my God. That thing was a travesty against cinema.
I'm not a purist of it. I don't know, The Last Airbender that way, but I know it pissed a lot of the fans off. I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was that good. Awful. But I didn't I remember some people were just puking all over it.
Okay. The movie by itself, if you don't know the story, if you didn't watch,
I think that's where I come in at.
If you didn't watch it, if you watch the movie first, it's a pretty B movie, okay? Pretty decent, but not great. It's got the bad acting. It just was not there. Then if you're a fan of the show had great voice actors. It had great acting. It had a great story. I mean, this was something that could appeal to boys, girls, women, and men. I mean, I enjoy the story just as much today as I did when this stuff came out back in the early 2000s, I think. And this thing, Avatar: The Last Airbender, is an amazing story. Regardless of whether it's a kid's show or whatever, it's a great story. It has great acting in it. And to have the M. Night Shyamalan movie kind of just be mediocre all over the place, it was very disappointing. And it wasn't true to the source material. So much was left out. And it felt like a different story. And it didn't have the depth that it had. Now, what I'm looking, everything that I've seen so far about the Netflix adaptation has been pretty damn good. I'm very hopeful because it looks like they're going to stay true to the story. It's of course in a TV format, which is in the same format that last.
I was thinking it was a movie.
Do what?
I was thinking it was a movie. That's how much I know about it.
Nope, it's a TV. It's going to be episodic. It's going to be a show. I don't think it's going to have as many episodes as, obviously, as the animated, simply because of the cost. But I think the quality of each episode is going to be higher. I think we're going to get more content, to be a little more compressed, I think. But the actors, the voice actors, all look like they've been chosen very carefully. It looks like they've gone and done an overhaul on the martial arts that are depicted in it between the various bending styles. I think it's going to be much more organic. It's going to look much more real and much more similar to what we expected from the animation.
I do remember that M. Night Shyamalan, the dude doing ha-ya, and just doing like that, and the candle lights. I was just like, fwa fwa. It looked like a Power Ranger. He was like fwa fwa. And you see boof, a little puff of fire, boof, like lighting some lanterns. I was just like, He had to do all that. Like, I could just imagine me walking up with a torch, just he's just doing like touching.
The thing just had a different feel. It just, Aang in the story,
or just dropping a match, like, hey, I could do that too.
Completely different character.
Woof. I could do that too. Woof.
Yeah, but I think this is going to be a good show. I think I don't know if it's going to make the fan base really happy, but I don't think that they're going to burn Netflix to the ground over it.
I mean, I don't know. I hope they, and I mean, I can't really speak on this, but I think they did a great job with the One Piece series. I thought that was good.
I think they did a great job with that. I think it was excellent. Now,
Yu Yu Hakusho was good.
My concern with the show is going to be whether they try to add anything later on. We have 4 seasons, you know, the various bending styles, and I really want to see them stick to the source content, and I'm interested to see if it succeeds. Do they take it into Korra as well? And I would be interested to see whether they intend to keep that style, if they intend to do Korra, or if they want to do something in the in-between period, which I think a lot of people, there's a I guess we call it a cartoon. I don't know if it's really a manga. It's more of a cartoon. That is. It
looks very Americanized.
Yeah. I mean, well, don't forget Avatar was Americanized.
Okay.
I mean, it's not anime.
I don't know nothing
it's
about it.
It's more American based. It's a lot of people said that it was, if America did anime, this is what it would look like. And that's what Avatar was always kind of sold as back in the day. But nobody ever really took up the mantle and did any more of that American style anime here in the US. Granted, we don't really need it because Japan's pumping out stuff every quarter. So we're looking good there.
Seems
but
like
I
they're
think
pumping out stuff every hour.
No, it's we've
I
got,
see a new anime
2 or 3 good shows
pop up all the time. All right, now switching gears, Avatar. I'm definitely gonna check it out. Switching gears. So, next topic. Now, what I started on before, then forgot that we had Avatar on deck. So the new spokesperson of Budlight, Shane Gillis. I love it. I love to see it. I love Shane Gillis.
I don't think this is a surprise. Anything, of course, Bud Light's trying to get as many people as they can to try to boost their brand. But Shane Gillis is a long time proponent of Bud Light, so this is not a big out of the blue moment. I think it's just another example that Bud Light's willing to put their money where their mouth is, and do what they need to do to get their fan base back. I don't think it's going to ever recover to the point where they were, but I think they can at least get back into competition. I mean, and we're talking AB InBev is that they're fine financially. They've got Modelo and other brands that are just as successful. So I just think that Bud Light is never going to be the big brand like they used to be. But I think this is one more tick in the right direction for them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is a response directly, but I mean, this is something that he's always wanted way before this is even thought about. During the whole Dylan Mulvaney thing, I remember them making a joke about it on GRE about him being the spokesperson. I know he loves Bud Light. Even when I saw like his old interviews, like on Barstool and his Secret podcast, dude always had a Bud Light in his hand, and he continued to love Bud Light even during all the controversy. So I mean, I think they couldn't have picked on anyone better. I definitely love to see him, up there representing Bud Light, even though I really, I'm not a drinker anymore, but hey, more power to him. It's good to him. It's, I think the guy is great. Only thing that's kind of aggravating me is everybody, you have these same stupid, internet people, these stupid, with these headlines, these stupid media sources going, oh, right-wing comic Shane Gillis. The dude is not right-wing at all. The dude, he makes fun of everybody, bro. He makes fun of the right, the left. I've never even heard him even give a take on anything political whatsoever. You don't even have to be political to be right-wing anymore. You just have to not be perfectly woke. If you're not woke, you're right-wing in modern day. And
I think that's stupid. You don't. There's so many different gradients of people's views that you can't just put them all into one basket. Saying if you don't believe that men can be women, and women can, the men can have babies, that you're right wing. I mean, I feel like every scientist and doctor on the planet is like, what the hell? Since when have I been right wing? But that's the day we're in.
It's
but
so
I think,
dumb.
I think one of the things that this shows, though, and I think we have another topic later on that we're going to go into more of this. But I think we're starting to see, and this is seeing Dave Chappelle kind of back in the news. We're seeing a lot of these so-called woke comedians that are have their careers kind of picking back up because people are finally looking at this and being like, you know what?
Well, I mean,
he's not as bad as they said he was. He's funny,
dude.
And they want to watch him. So I think
for
I
comedy
think this is
now, like if I were a stand-up comedian, I would want to be canceled so quickly because now it's almost getting to where it's becoming like a rite of passage to be canceled. Like that one guy that does the crowd work. What's his name? That really, really attractive guy. I forgot the guy's name. Oh man, I'm blanking.
I find it interesting that you described him as an attractive guy.
Well, that's what everybody knows him as. Like, there's nothing but women at his freaking comedy shows. There's never any bro dudes or anything. Who
are we talking about?
Well, he just had that Netflix special that they wanted to cancel him for, where he said, the woman, the waitress came out with a black eye, and they said something. And then he said something to the effect of, well, I mean, she wouldn't have that black eye if she knew how to cook. I forgot that guy's name. I'll get back to it. I'll think of it later. But
we'll have to throw that in the comments too, because I don't know
I can't believe him.
Else will either.
He literally, and then he said, "Hey, y'all want my apology?" He put a link up to like special needs helmets.
That's great.
If you want my apology, click here. And like it seemed to me like this dude was purposely trying to get himself canceled. Because I mean, these days when it comes to stand-up, stand-up comedy, it's almost like if you get canceled, you're gonna grow in fame and popularity. This guy, the best thing that ever happened to him, from what I'm seeing here, just looking from as a bystander, was him getting canceled off of Saturday Night Live. His freaking, his career shot up and took off after that.
Yeah, I mean, comedians and satirists in our society have always been kind of the bellwether on free speech, on freedom of thought and expression. And I'm glad to see that these comedians that speak their mind, they go after everyone, regardless, nothing about you should be completely against ridicule and against satire, because that's how we learn about ourselves and things like that. So when you start telling that these people you can't make fun of, that shuts down an entire conversation that we need to be having, because it normalizes these types of things. We need to know how people think, realize that they're stupid because it's funny, and be able to kind of analyze who we are. So yeah, I love seeing the comedians come back and regaining some of their swagger, and these woke idiots that that are pushing for all this cancellation are basically yelling at the wind now, and I like to see that.
Comedy,
and I want to see more of it.
Comedy is supposed to be offensive. It's comedy.
It is.
I've heard some like they'll make fun of Hispanic guys like me, and I'm like, yeah, that's true. I don't call to take him off the stage, cancel him. It's funny. You got to be able to laugh at yourself. And this is a hot take. I'm gonna tell you like this. And this is something really, I think stereotypes are the funniest thing in the world. And somebody being really white. There's nothing funnier than somebody being really white. To me, there's nothing more funny than somebody being really Hispanic. There's nothing more funny than somebody being really black. There's nothing more funny than somebody being very gay. I'm not saying I hate them. It's funny. You know what I'm saying?
It's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's funny. And
you should be able to laugh at yourself.
Look at each other and our neighbors that way, and be able to look at and smile about it. Because when we're yelling and screaming at each other, that's when we're not working together. If we can laugh together, we're not killing each other, and we're certainly not trying to rip each other down, in politics and whatnot. And so I think, a lot of this ultra polarization of our population, a lot of this has to do with the fact that we can't even laugh at each other. We don't even have the same idea of the world because we can't even talk to one another. And I think that this is a good step in the right direction of getting back to being able to laugh at each other, at ourselves, and not be worried about whether someone's going to lose their entire career over it.
I mean, I think it's funny when somebody's being really fat. You know what I'm saying? Like, I go eat 3 cheeseburgers. Somebody like, man, you fat. You be like, dang right I am. This is pretty fat right here. I mean, you got to be able to laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
You got to be, as long as it's not from nowhere of malice and, just being downright mean. You can't take life that seriously. Speaking of comedians and freedom of speech, we're going to go ahead and switch gears here. Going from Shane Gillis to one of Shane Gillis's good friends and a guy that he's regularly on this podcast. One Mr. Joe Rogan. Superstar, the biggest podcast probably in the world right now. I
wonder if you had asked him 20 years ago if he thought that the Joe Rogan experience would be where it is today, I bet you he'd laugh your face off.
I look up to the guy big time. It's my dream to meet the guy. So if you ever happen to see this, I'm only an hour from Austin. So, hey, hit me up, bro. You're probably never going to see this, and that's fine. Why would you? But, this dude, he's in the news right now. He's 250. What was his first contract? I don't remember. I might have to Google it. His first exclusive deal contract with Spotify. How much was it worth?
I don't know, but it wasn't what it is now. I mean, this is a big deal. This contract opens him up to a bunch of new audiences. It opens up a bunch of new audiences to him. And of course, Spotify is going to win big on it. They got all the ad rights, which is going to be great for Spotify. It's going to be great for Joe Rogan. And it's going to be great for anybody who likes listening to what he has to say.
Let me look it up real quick. Keep talking.
Yeah, so I think one of the big things about this contract that I like is Joe Rogan is not afraid to say what he thinks and what he believes. And Spotify backing him right like this shows that Spotify says, you can say whatever you want because it's profitable for us. And that means that other people who are in the same boat can go to Spotify and be supported by them.
Okay,
because they're willing to pay out for what they need, which is audience.
So he first went there. Okay, you're going to be exclusive to us. It was $200 million. You got some pull when you're like, okay, I'm no longer going to be just exclusive to you, but just for me remaining here and you with the advertising rights, I'm going to charge you $50 million more. Bruh, you've got to have some pull and some power and some serious horsepower behind you to be able to go and be like, okay, I'm no longer going to be exclusive to you guys, but hey, just for me allowing myself to still be here, you know what I'm saying, and you to advertise me being here, y'all are going to pay me more. Think about that.
Well, it's more than that, too. They're controlling the advertisements as well. So they're getting ad revenue from all of his viewership, regardless of what platform it's on. So and we understand that when we post our videos, we do the same thing. We have deals with the clients that we have, and we set the level of participation that we want to have, and the exclusivity that we have with our sponsors. So I think it's important that we see that Spotify recognizes him as a valuable product, and that they're willing to sponsor even if he goes onto other platforms.
Not to mention that
is a big deal.
But he can bring eyes to other platforms now, like Rumble, like Kick, stuff like that. Alternate media, you know what I'm saying? I'm all about alt tech.
More choice.
Yeah,
I'm all about more choice.
I'm not.
Me, so
I don't like this monopoly stuff. YouTube's pretty much got the video
YouTube needs to get spanked. They've gone out of control. I think all of anybody who's been producing any content in the last couple years will tell you that YouTube has just gotten ridiculous. and granted, one of the places we'll be hosting this is probably YouTube, so we'll see how long it takes for us to get striked. But yeah, we need more options, and we need more people who are competing for content. And I think this is a
with our
direction.
next category coming up. It wouldn't take long at all, but in our political part, we're gonna, yeah, that's definitely a strike waiting to happen. Even though we're not big at all. We got a few subscribers, but it will be a problem in the future, God willing. That, bruh, if we get a content strike and we grow enough to get that, I will be like, yes, we have made it.
I'll wear that badge with pride.
Yes,
sure. We're sponsoring enough places.
So I look forward to that. I look forward to that one day happening.
If it is, we're going to tell everyone about it. It's going to be the key topic on our show because we're going to tell.
I'm going to print it out and I'm going to hang it right there in that corner.
Damn straight. It's going to be more valuable than when we get that YouTube plaque that's got 100,000 subscribers.
Okay, I'm not going to say when. Okay, I'm going to say when because we're going to grow this, God willing. If it's in God's future for us, pray to God that we get that way. But yeah, so I mean, I think it's lovely. I think it'll get more eyes on other platforms. I hope he does right with it. More power to him. I love to see it. From what I see, he's a good guy. He means well. A lot of people get mad at some of his takes, but it is what it is. The guy is a straight shooter, and I love to see it.
Yeah, and he's never been shy about it. He's always admitted that he's been on the left side of social issues and things like that. And he'll admit it to anybody that
he makes his own mind up. He makes his own mind up, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
he doesn't fall in.
And he'll change his mind when he is presented with evidence and interesting information that he didn't have before. And not a lot of people will do that. And I think that's great about Joe is he's willing to listen. As opposed to just telling his story and telling his take, he'll listen to your take and actually change his mind if he finds evidence that will do so.
Yeah, so I mean, I think this is just a big win, not just for him, but for everybody involved and for other platforms. But we'll see. So
and I think Spotify is going to win too. I think they're going to see this is going to be a profitable move, even though it might seem as though they're losing something. I don't think they're going to lose at all. I think they're going to win from this. And I think Spotify made a good decision here.
Kind of like the Xbox situation, putting their games in other consoles. Yeah. So love to see it, but hey, here we go. Now switching gears all along with somebody else that's been in the news.
One might say a little too much.
Miss Taylor Swift. I am not an expert on this. I think. I couldn't even name you a Taylor Swift song. Y'all know what music I'm into, so I don't even know. I didn't even know she was that popular. I'm so far removed from mainstream music. I don't even know what they play on the radio now. The other day, I thought that song Pound Town was literally just a TikTok phenomenon and stuff like that. Then I was at the blood drive. I was at a blood drive, where they, you can donate blood, and they had music on the radio on, and that song starts playing in the nurse office, and I was just like, that's on the radio. So I don't even know. It surprised me that song was on the radio. So I don't even know what it's on the radio these days. But
yeah, I'm not a Swiftie. I'll make that very clear. I know a few of her songs. I mean, she's famous. Obviously, she's got some big songs. I think she's a phenomena among women, young women in particular. They see her as, this decade's Beyonce. I mean, she is, for them, she's a goddess, and it's terrifying how much power she has because of that. I think that the thing that pisses me off is there is so much going on with the Super Bowl and with the Chiefs and all that. I don't think that Taylor Swift should be the headline on every ESPN block. I've think that when you're in a sport casting situation, when you broadcast sports, if you're spending more time talking about Taylor Swift than you're talking about Travis Kelce and the percentages and goals and touchdowns and sacks and everything that's involved in the stats of a football game and a football season, especially on a football and on a Super Bowl contender, I think that you've lost your way. ESPN is no longer a news organization; they're a Taylor Swift organization, and whether you're at the game, they go to her repeatedly. And at even one point, she's mouthing to the camera, "Go away." Like, she's even tired of it. I am so tired of hearing about her that I just
hear
boggles
this
my
girl
mind.
is so big that she has an effect on the economy wherever she goes.
Yeah.
Like, business
Yeah, I
will
mean,
boom. They'll put out some Taylor Swift t-shirts and they'll just boom the whole time she's there. That's
a lot of
insane.
people saying that she's a psyop, right, to try to get you to like the Chiefs.
But
to be support them in the Super Bowl. And other people are. In fact, it even goes deeper than that. A lot of people saying that Joe Biden is trying to get an endorsement from her so that he doesn't have to campaign this year.
yeah, I mean, he'll get all the little teeny boppers vote, that's for sure.
Yeah, my problem with her is she seems pretty. She likes to talk about politics and things like that, and I don't think she actually knows what the hell she's talking about. For one
I
thing,
don't think she's in that whole fame thing in Hollywood and in the music industry where she doesn't have to care, really.
Yeah,
it's
she's
not
definitely
gonna.
there.
It's not gonna affect her.
She could say she murdered somebody, and I don't think anybody would give a shit.
She doesn't have to vote with her wallet. She can vote with her heart for what she thinks her heart is right. So
yeah, I mean that's the benefit of being
just
rich
like
and famous and
just like
white
all them
and a woman.
It's like when all them riots were going on. All those guys were doing. Not all of them, but a lot of them were rich white kids, and a lot of people that were supporting it were rich people that didn't have to live. Kind of the same situation. They didn't have to live in that inner city after they destroyed it. They just go back to their houses,
nice suburban
in the hills behind a locked gate. It's the same. It's that disconnect.
Yeah, it's the children of the elite and things like that, and she's definitely an elite. I mean, but my issue with is my issue is these people are such hypocrites. I mean, Taylor Swift is on concert in Japan right now, on tour. And so she's coming back every weekend for these football games.
I didn't get what you were saying when you were telling me about that.
From private jet.
So she's coming home every night after she does a show?
What? Well, no. She's coming back to the States to watch the football game. So wherever the Chiefs are playing that weekend, wherever Travis is, she goes in her private jet after her show. In fact, the big controversy right now.
I was about to say, why don't you want to stay in Japan? It's lovely.
Well, she wants to be with Travis. I mean, I understand that, but the fact is every trip that she does is the equivalent of like the annual carbon usage of like 28 people or some shit like that. So every weekend she's racking up equivalent of 28 people's annual carbon usage, and yet we have to stop eating cows because they fart. Like, are you kidding me? Like, we just stop one Taylor Swift and we can have our
that don't even make sense to begin with. So the more cows we eat, the less they're farting. They don't get the chance to fart if we eat them.
Well, bottom line is
I eat them and they turn into a fart.
We have all these lefty people that are like, don't use, carbon fuels. They're in their private jet, electric cars and all this, and then we've got one Taylor Swift who ruins it every weekend.
You need to get an electric car. It's only $100,000. Yeah, easy for you to say you can afford that. I ain't got no $100,000 to buy a Tesla Model Z, S, Y, X, WC.
Yeah, and so,
which nothing wrong with Tesla. I like their fun cars, but hey, I can't deal with those.
Well, yeah, or we saw what happens in a Tesla car when it gets cold out there. It doesn't go as far. It doesn't hold a charge, and then you get stranded. So, and then you've got to talk about states like Maine that want to, make half the cars on the road EVs by 2030 or whatever, 2035 or whatever.
Are they going to buy everybody
Maine
one?
Maine is a cold ass state. Their cars are not going to work. It's rural.
It's not just that one. Is Maine going to buy everybody one? Like, are they going to come pick up your EV at the city hall today?
Yeah, we had to haul it in from wherever half job you got and where you went. But bottom line is, I mean, for the conference about Taylor Swift, I mean, when the Super Bowl was announced and all that, everybody was talking not about the Super Bowl or who was going to win it. It's all about, is Taylor going to make it back from her concert on time? And she's like, well, she's going to be a little late. And then there was a controversy about her getting her spot reserved at the private airport. And you're just like, oh my, why is this news? Why is this important? And I'm so tired of hearing about Taylor Swift. And I'm sure that most people who aren't Swifties would agree.
I mean, I don't have an opinion. I don't even pay attention. I didn't even know this was going on. I don't pay attention to mainstream media. I didn't even know that's what she looked like. That could be a picture of a different woman that I Googled. And is that Taylor Swift?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure because I was a little worried. I was like, I hope this is the right woman. Somebody will come in the comments. That's not even Taylor Swift. I don't even know what she looks like. Believe it or not. Like
I envy you because I have seen nothing but her on every news channel, every sports, everything. I mean, she's everywhere. I can't get away from it. And I know that during the Super Bowl, she's going to have more ad time than the ads. You watch. There's going to be more Taylor Swift on the TV than Travis Kelce and the Chiefs.
Well, I don't even really watch the Super Bowl. Just keep her butt away from WrestleMania is all I got to say in UFC 300, and we're good. Keep her out of it. Now, if this was happening with the UFC or WWE, I'd probably be just about the same as you. So, but well, Taylor Swift, go away. We're tired of seeing you. I think you're tired of letting us see you. So let's all do the happy thing.
And move on.
Yeah, move on. Stay your butt in Japan. Your man will be just fine. Let him focus on the game. Stay your butt in Japan and stop putting all that dang pollution into the freaking air with your stupid private jet. How about that, Taylor Swift? This guy named Dropkick Zombie is telling you that with his little 10 followers, along with a Jedi guy with a fat ass. We're telling you that. We're tired of seeing you. You obviously don't suck because you're filthy rich and you have a great voice. So I can't say that you suck, but you suck because you're everywhere now, and we're getting tired of seeing it. And go away. Stay your butt in Japan. Quit polluting the earth. And shut your mouth. I'm still going to eat all the steak that I want. Ah. Okay, that being said, switching gears, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, moving on.
All right, getting rid of Taylor. So, we can't get her away off of the NFL, but hey, we can get rid of her on the screen like this. Boom, she's gone.
Oh my God, it's a miracle.
She's gone.
It's a miracle.
Yay. All right, moving on to, let's see where we're going to go. We're going to go to, oh, Lord. I see where we're going next. We're going to the dun-dun-dun, Mr. Donald Trump. Ah!
Man, it's
there he is. Oh my God, the orange hair. His hair don't look that orange there, but he's triggering me.
I wonder.
What
evidence of
it's Trump! You're gonna take my rights! You tried to January 6th! You tried to overthrow the government! I'm triggered!
Good news on the Trump front.
All right, you take it away. I'm done. I'm sorry. I lost myself. He triggered me so hard just seeing the picture. Oh my gosh. All right, go ahead.
So we got some good news on the Trump front. If you're a Trump fan out there, we're looking at his trials. Looks like are getting postponed. Various reasons. That's all a good thing.
From what I heard, that's like a common tactic in criminal law, just to postpone.
Well, yeah, I mean, the lawyers get paid more money, the court gets paid more money, and they get to keep it in the news longer. So I think the Democrats
a win-win for everybody.
They need the story more than they need the conviction.
It's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah,
I guess.
I mean,
I don't know.
We've got one of the big cases has been postponed indefinitely, and then of course the Fani Willis nonsense down in Georgia looks like it might be getting wiped out because of her nonsense. So that's a good thing as well. Obviously, we still had that $83 million thing with that ridiculous woman who claimed defamation. I bet that that'll go down as being one of the stupidest judicial decisions on earth. But we got more. We got the Enderon nonsense going on still, and he'll of course want to hit Trump as much as possible. Him and his quirky grin, his smirking, most political animal in New York, and that's saying something, as New York is a shithole. So I'm sorry if you live in New York, but you live in a shithole. And
I was just
Yeah,
there.
I
I
don't
was
take
just
it back.
there
I'm
last
sorry,
year.
You live in a shithole.
Middle of last year. I was just there winter last year. Probably about this time last year. And I'm not going to say I didn't, but I had literally the most anxiety I've ever had driving through Manhattan. So,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I,
I mean, it's unfortunate because it's a city that has such a rich history with our country, but that's neither here nor there. Back on the Trump thing. So it's been suspended. So what happens now? What's
Well, it's not gone. The case isn't gone, but it looks like
they're never gonna let that go
for at least a while. And most people think that it would be postponed until after the election has been decided. If Trump is chosen as the president-elect, it's very likely that will just wither away and die. And I think a lot of these cases will likely wither away and die if he becomes the president-elect, because you can't prosecute the president.
I'll be honest with you.
So
I
it would
wish
protect him in that essence.
I wish. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'm not the biggest Trump fan. I wish we had a better candidate, but this is what we have now. So that's what this has become.
Well, you either get Donald Trump, who has a proven track record of doing good job in the office, even if he has a bad track record of keeping his mouth shut. I mean, I like Trump. I like what he did. He did things in the Middle East no one else was able to do. He met with people that nobody else would be willing to meet with. And I think that's a mark of a leader. I mean, he did the things that nobody else had the strength to do. I just think that, and I think a lot of people agree, that he needed a filter and he didn't have one. Another thing that I have an issue with Trump, during his first time in office, I don't think he was aggressive enough. He didn't get enough done. He tried to work within the system, and the system did everything it could to stop him. I think that if he gets in this time, I think everybody's saying that he'll go after revenge, and I hope he does, because the system is broken. It is absolutely broken, and it needs to be completely revamped. I mean, we've got people in positions of power right now who are unelected, who have more power than they ever should, who are actively working against your interests for their political gain.
I don't think Trump is the savior, but I think he's selfish, just like every other politician. But just the things that he wants for his selfishness, are things that we can benefit from as a country.
I think that's a good way to look at it. When the U.S. benefits, he benefits, and when the U.S. benefits, we all benefit. So if he's doing it for selfish reasons, great. Now, I don't think he's doing it for purely selfish reasons, because if he was purely selfish, he wouldn't run in the first place. He's lost so much money as president and as a former president.
But you can't lie, that dude.
Potential president.
A dude like him likes that power. I mean, of course.
No, yeah, granted, it's a different type of power. I
mean,
money is a form of power, and he's had that most of his, if not all of his life. I mean, he did not come from poor means, okay? But at the same time, political power is a different animal altogether. You don't have to be the wealthy one. You just have to be the one that all the wealthy ones need on their side. And I think one of the issues is that Trump has rubbed a lot of the current elites the wrong way. Because they like globalist policies, and I don't see Trump really as a globalist. He's an America First guy, and I think that's great. I believe in America First. I think that if you don't handle your shit at home, you don't have any reason to go out in the rest of the world and tell them how to do their shit. So we got to solve our problems here at home, whether it's financial problems. We've got trillions of dollars in deficit spending every year. We're over $30 trillion in debt. That's only going to grow. We're getting to the point where we can never pay it back. So as a country, I don't know why people still go, oh, America's going to pay their bills. Are we really? Or are we just going to print more money to pay those bills? And I think people are starting to see that. So I think someone with some business sense is actually a good idea. Only a politician could say, well, we could just spend money we don't have. That's definitely an American politician line of thinking, because a businessman says if we spend money we don't have, we go bankrupt. We can't go bankrupt. And Trump has been bankrupt, and he knows that pain. He knows how much of a pain in the ass it is.
But I mean,
and I think he sees America going down that same path.
But what people don't realize, there's a difference between rich people bankrupt and regular person bankrupt.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's different chapters.
Like, there's people that
so,
plenty
yeah.
like I've heard like, oh, this rapper or whatever went bankrupt. That's just them dropping something and just letting it go. But they still have all this money over here that they can use. They don't give a crap about, oh, I'm bankrupt. I still got all this money over here.
Bankruptcy
I
is
just
a
dropped that
process. Yeah.
There's so many business people that their business will go bankrupt, but then they have these two other businesses and this money tied up over here. They could just let that go and let it bankrupt. It makes no skin to them. That's what a lot of people, they're like,
depending on how they're set up. Yeah.
Like people are like, oh, this person is a failure because they went bankrupt. But when it comes to rich people like Mr. Trump here, it's not the same thing as going, like, if you or I will go bankrupt.
Well, corporations and companies are a risk, and you take a risk. Now, one of the reasons that you incorporate is to reduce your personal liability. So when we say that Trump went bankrupt, we don't actually mean that Trump personally went bankrupt. He never personally went bankrupt.
He probably took a risk on a business and then he let it go. That's
he started a business, he invested in it, and the investment failed, either partially or fully, and that's bankruptcy. But that doesn't mean that Trump is a bad businessman. It means he might have made a bad business decision, but that doesn't mean that he's a bad businessman. And I think that having Trump's success in his other businesses proves that he's a good businessman. But we can't bat 1,000.
Not everything
your
you're
best
going to do is
batters are
going to
batting
turn
in the
to gold.
300s. So when you're hitting 1 out of 3, and that's considered a good hitter, and I think if you have someone who's hitting, 4 out of 5, that's a superstar, and you've got Trump who's done that. And yeah, he might have had one mess, maybe 2. When you centered Trump University, it was a failure as well. But I don't necessarily think that was all Trump. It was probably one of the persons he put in charge of it. I think Trump has proven that he's not the best at picking, some of the best people to be in his cabinet and his staff. And I think some of the traitors and some of the turncoats.
I mean, that's one thing I don't know if
are proof of that.
Like how he, prolonged the election. Go look into this, and if you don't, you're fired. I'm not a fan of that either when it comes to Trump.
Well, I mean, when you're talking about business, if you're in a business and you're the CEO and you've got a guy who just fucked up bad, cost the company a bunch of money,
I'm talking about more along the political thing. I didn't agree with that. Like,
but when you're
if he didn't sing his tune,
and you're demanding
fired.
Loyalty, that's a different story. I'm not a huge
he kind of
fan
did
of
that.
This loyalty. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the loyalty thing. I think every single politician should be out for one person, themselves first, and because if their interests got them elected, the people chose them to represent their interests, then I want to see those interests represented in Congress, not just because the orange man said so. Granted, the orange man might be right, but I need every politician looking at it with a bit of skepticism to see if that's their best decision based on their morals and values that got them elected. Now, if they're voting against their morals, those morals that they're voting for better be in line with the voting group. Period.
Well, and we're going to switch gears after I say this. Like, Trump's Trump. It is what it is. We come to that as a nation, just voting on the lesser evil, and that's how it goes. But still better than old Sleepy Joe. Moving on.
Yep.
Let's see where we're going to go next. Okay, time to get into the more serious topics, even more so than Mr. Orange Man Donald Trump.
Is that really a serious topic? I think most people consider Trump to be a joke.
No, it's not, but this is where we're going to switch gears and get into the more serious stuff, the more political stuff, the stuff that I'm not an expert in. This is more of Mr. Jedi Master Fat Ass's forte, but first...
A waste of brain power, but,
Yep.
Somebody's got to do it.
It's not a waste, I mean, sometimes I wish I was more...
It's these useless facts I can't get paid for.
Sometimes, I wish I was more informed than what I am. I have a whole problem that I get bored with the news. Okay, look, let me tell you like this. I get bored with the news, and the more that I watch and pay attention to the news, the more I want to walk outside and punch somebody. So by me not paying attention to not watching, I save all of you.
That's a public service announcement.
That's a
Don't
public
let
service.
Carlos watch the news.
Because I want to go and punch somebody. As soon as I see, either, and I'm not saying left or right, as soon as I see a right winger do something stupid or a left winger do something stupid, I just want to go punch somebody. And I sit there and I find myself watching the news, whether it's Fox, CNN, whatever. Even some of the conservative guys that I follow, I watch their stuff and I'm just find myself getting angry and want to walk outside and punch somebody. And that's why I don't. It's saving people. Okay. It's saving people from getting punched, and probably saving me, because maybe that guy that I punched could probably beat me up. So that's saving myself too, because he'd probably beat me up anyway. So it's better for everybody that I don't watch a lot of this news coverage in media on politics. So now
it can be hard to watch, that's for sure.
Yeah, I can't do it. I want to watch happy stuff. That's just me. And then people make fun of me sometimes too, because I'm like, I put up a post where I'm like, hey, I haven't seen any positive stuff. I'm gonna say one thing good, and everybody's like, shut up. That's stupid. Haha. I remember this one guy that I know is sitting at his house. I think he's. I'm not gonna say. Okay, I'm gonna let that go. I was saying too much.
Let's move on.
Yeah, move on. All right, so I'm saying too much. Okay, so moving on to the situation in Jordan. Our military troops were attacked. I think it was a drone strike, correct?
It was a drone strike. 3 Americans were killed. Around 20 or so were injured at that base in Jordan. The Jordan was right there at the junction between Syria, Iraq, and Jordan. Of course, we've got a multitude of bases in Syria, Iraq, conducting support operations for basically groups that we've decided that are better than others in that region to help fight ISIS and Al-Qaeda and other Islamic militant groups that are fighting. Some of them are fighting with backing from Iran. Others are fighting against the backers from Iran. It's a hot mess over there. But ever since the Gaza October 7th strike, these Iranian-backed militias and these Islamic-backed militias have been attacking American bases, or at least where bases where Americans were located, hundreds of times, or well over 100 times. And we've responded a couple times with some bombing some supply facilities and things like that. Typically, we've been trying to keep it low-key in order to prevent an escalation. Not really sure if that prevented any escalation or not, but this attack on the Jordan facility that took out 3 individuals was enough that it caused a reaction. We've been bombing targets all over Syria and Iraq ever since. Iranian-backed issues, even some Iranian physical positions that are in place with them have been targeted. So far, nothing inside of Iran has been targeted, and that's a good thing. We do not want a war in that region, and this is definitely ramping up even further. But I think the news about this that concerns me the most is how they let the drone get close enough to cause that kind of damage. And rumors.
Did they say they thought it was theirs or something, or they thought it was?
Yeah, rumors are coming out that we were expecting, the American side were expecting an Allied drone to be returning around the same time. So when this enemy drone came in, it didn't raise any alarms. They didn't shoot at it. They didn't try to take it down, which gave it basically free pass to hit what they wanted.
A firm believer from when I was young, okay? A firm believer of it flies, it dies.
Well, yeah, it flies, it dies if it's not yours. I mean,
shoot it anyway. Shoot it, no chances.
Well, I just think that whoever was responsible
I don't know what I'm
for
saying.
the airspace, monitoring the airspace should have been more on the ball. I don't understand how you can be so confused about where your drone is.
And this is me not making light of the situation. This is just another example, bro, right now, just how the world is with foreign policy and with everything going on, bro. The world is a giant, like how I look at the world right now, when you buy one of them bean burritos at the gas station and you bring it to your house, and you should only cook it for 2 minutes, but you cook it for 3 minutes and it explodes in the microwave.
Or at 2 minutes 15 seconds right now.
Yeah, and that's kind of with the situation with Ukraine and Russia. We got the situation with, Palestine and Israel. We have, with these, what are they called? I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. They're cutting off ships.
Oh, the Houthi Yemen
The Houthis.
guys down there? Yeah.
The Houthis and all that. Man, it's just a powder keg ready to explode.
I mean,
Scary
we're looking at
the stuff on the stuff on the border. It's
plus China, Taiwan. I mean, it's all over the world. I mean, there's not a region of the world that isn't facing some kind of crises right now that could lead to a major regional conflict. The problem is that because of the network of alliances and things like that, the regions are connected. We're so global now, which is a problem with globalization, that when you've got a regional conflict, it becomes something much bigger. I think that the world looks very similar in terms of those alliances as it did before World War I. World War I should have been a small regional conflict. It became a bigger thing because of all of the complicated alliances. We're in that same ballpark. We've got an East versus West mentality right now, meaning that you're either on the Western side, which is the NATO, U.S. bloc, versus the Eastern bloc, which is going to be your Russia, your China, your North Korea, your Iran, and powers are flocking to either one side or the other, or are going to try to remain in the middle. And I think that is a very dangerous way to think. If it's us versus them, when you've got 3.5, 4 billion people on one side and 2.5 to 3 billion people on the other side, and you've got tensions where you're literally butting heads at every point that you connect, and no one seems to be trying to tamp down the violence. Everyone seems to be just trying to keep their own people safe. I mean, I don't even know. I don't even know where we're trying to do or where we're going right now.
Or give more money to them. Or give more money to them.
Well, yeah, we're definitely giving more money. I mean, this bill that came through the Senate that got presented, it's a Ukraine-Israel aid bill. It's not a border bill, and it's more billions and billions for us to throw at more people dying. I don't understand why we are so hell-bent on funneling and fueling conflict everywhere, and including our own country with our lack of control of border.
Yeah, and then I mean, you see like Nikki Haley, like it makes you kind of makes a fellow wonder, like from Letterkenny, kind of makes a fellow wonder, what investments do all these elitists have? What all did they make? Make no mistake, there's money in war.
Yeah, I mean, and
what is
the Uniparty, the Uniparty is all about it for sure.
Every soldier that is outfitted is what, $2,100, probably more now with inflation. To fully,
what do you mean?
I know they say for every soldier to totally equip them and with all their equipment, for each soldier in the armies is about around $2,100.
No, I think it's closer to $28,000 or more. I mean,
I could be wrong. That's what I said. I don't know.
Military grade night vision goggles are thousands of dollars.
Well, I'm not saying like special ops with that. I'm talking about like.
No, I'm not talking either. I mean, our basic forces, our infantry forces, are equipped with night vision as a standard kit.
Good to have.
I mean, when you do operations at night, which America is great at because we are so well equipped. I mean, we're talking. I think when there was an estimate done on the quality of the cost of a soldier, and the cost of a single soldier is ridiculous. The amount of training, the amount of effort that we put in, and that is amazing. And I want us to continue to do that. We need to give our troops,
but not leave it in the Middle East,
resource to win.
But not leave it in the Middle East, bro. How much stuff we lost?
No, I don't want to die. I don't want any of our men to die in the sandbox.
No. I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying how much equipment we left in the Middle East when we pulled out, like all that money.
Oh, I mean, we left trucks, helicopters,
all that money. But and
Biden just screwed us so bad.
The point that we're trying to get across is there's some people making money off of war, and you kind of want
a lot of people making money on war.
And you kind of want to call into question who, and with some of how not just this regime, but somehow how these elitists seem like they're so wanting war to happen. It makes you kind of wonder, where are your investments? You know what I'm saying? Where Are you making money
Well,
from this? I mean,
I think
I could be
we know
wrong. I'm
that
an idiot, but I'll just be honest. So,
well, we know that the old Republican guard, these are the people that we call neocons. These are the Bush Republicans. These people were heavily tied to military-industrial complex. I mean, the Bushes were the military-industrial darlings, and I think that group is represented by Nikki Haley right now. She represents that old school military-industrial complex, big military, big government neocon Republicans. Whereas Trump represents pretty much everybody who's tired of that shit. And that's the revolution within the Republican Party. Is you've got the old school guys that are big government, big military, big industrial complex. $20,000 for a space hammer. That type of shit. $100,000 for a space toilet kind of bullshit. Whereas Trump is more, why are we spending so much damn money on the sandbox? Why are we spending so much money when we could bring peace to there and bring all that money home to do shit here and make industry and whatnot better?
Literally every time, not trying to get
it from a financial standpoint.
I'm not trying to get on Nikki Haley discussion, but literally every time that woman opens her mouth, the phrase you hear is "boots on the ground." It's like,
well,
whoa,
no, yeah, she's a war hawk of all war hawks. I mean, there's only there's very few people who I think of who want war more than she does.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It just seems like a lot of people want there to be more bloodshed and more war. And like I say, and I could be wrong. I'm not the smartest when it comes to all this stuff, but it just seems like
notice the people that want war are usually the people that are the least affected by it,
and they're the ones that are probably lining their pockets. Yeah. So that's the whole point I'm trying to drive here. But this is truly horrible. One life lost, one American life lost is terrible, and then we lost 3 and 20 injured. Pray for our troops. Salute the troops. Pray for our troops. Our hearts and minds are with you guys. Prayer for the families that lost their loved ones in this. It takes a special person to go out there and risk your life like these people are doing. Yeah. Nothing but respect, nothing but love and admiration for these guys. So, yeah.
We love you. Keep your heads down. Stay safe out there. Make sure your battle buddy's with you. Cover your 6.
Salute the troops, man, all day. Now, going on from a Middle Eastern conflict to one that's right here at our doorstep. Time for our weekly border update. You can see here. So, barbed wire going up, telling us to remove the barbed wire. We saying no. I could say we because this is going on right in my backyard. But, yeah. Barbed wire ain't coming down. What was it? Last Friday was the deadline. Whatever happened with that?
But we're looking at in terms now, as far as the federal government blinking, I think they blinked on this one. I think the big talk now is the Senate thing that passed, the bill that passed that's supposed to be a reform bill for the amnesty and all that. I've read into about half of it so far, and it's awful. It's absolutely awful. It codifies the human trafficking of the Biden administration. The main thing that I can't get over is the fact that the majority of the money in the bill is for foreign military aid. All of the border elements are designed to codify the current human smuggling and trafficking organization by the Biden administration. It prevents any real talk about having to fix this. When you're saying that we're not going to shut the border down until it hits 5,000 a day average for like 7 days straight, that's insane. That's insane. I close the damn border. I don't understand how hard that is.
Let me preface this. The border. And when we're saying that, we're not meaning we're anti-immigration. Please come here. If you're the right person, come here. We want you here.
I'm even for amnesty. Go to a border checkpoint. The legal entry. Period. If you cross anywhere but a legal port of entry into the United States, you are a criminal, and you either need to go to jail or go back where you came from.
And then you had that one guy that was
Period.
looked like Middle Eastern descent. I know he was on the FBI watch list or wanted list, and he got through, and he even said,
yeah, terrorist watch list. This is a guy that we know to be a terrorist.
And some people are saying that it's a hoax. No, this guy is. No. And he even said, he said his name. He goes, you don't know me.
You're going to know me. Yeah.
You're going to know me. If that doesn't scare you, I don't know what will. I mean, and then, okay, you have the thing with I saw somebody make a comment that was like, this girl was saying, I hope Texas just lays down. No. And she was saying, and then I see somebody, well, no, we don't want to lay down. We're Texas. Then somebody comments like, yeah, but there's poor people getting tangled up in razor wire and drowning to death is pretty horrible for us to want. It's like, we don't want that. We put the razor wire there.
So they would go to a port of entry.
Yeah, so you'd be like, oh, I don't need to go that way. I'm going to get tangled up and probably get hurt. Let me go over here and try the legitimate way. That's all it is. We're not saying that we want somebody to be tangled up. God forbid that happens. We don't want that to happen. But if you're a person
and you're looking across the river and you see barbed wire, you see a razor wire, which is even worse. You see razor wire, you see fencing, you see armed guards. If you still continue to cross there, you're out of your damned mind.
There's razor wire around the Salvation Army by my house. Like, literally, there's razor wire on the walls that around the backyard where they keep the bins, with all the stuff in it. There's razor wire over there. That's not so people get caught in the razor wire. That's so people, hey, maybe I need to not go over the deterrent. Maybe I need to go into the store and buy the stuff instead of trying to, I don't know why you would do this, to go probably get a toaster oven that was manufactured 10 years ago that you can get for $1 inside. I don't know why you would do that, but that's to be like, oh, let me not go jump that fence and get tangled up in the razor wire.
I think the perfect example of the type of people that we're letting in is this nonsense that happened in New York City. You've got two cops who were basically arresting a guy for harassing people in front of a doorway. When they tried to arrest him, they were attacked. These two cops not daylight, it was night, but they were attacked by a gang of illegal Venezuelans. And every single one of them is now out of jail, free, walking around, continuing to commit crimes on the population, continue to commit crimes against cops. Some of them ran away from the state and ran to California because they know California will welcome them in and give them checks and money and free shit. And the attitude of these people, they don't give a shit about America. They don't give a shit about New York City. They don't give a shit about New York State. They don't give a shit about cops. They don't give a shit about you. They will do everything in their power to rip you off for their own personal gain because that's all they care about. They are selfish.
And we're not going to say all. Criminal. We're not going to say all. But, I mean, there are some people.
We don't even know how many of them are like that.
That's the problem right there. We don't know. That's where it's at.
And the fact that we've let any of them in is proof that we have a problem on our southern border. If we were defending our border and we were monitoring who was coming in, we would at least know who these people were, where they came from, what crimes they committed in Venezuela, because that they got this experience elsewhere. If they're treating our cops this way, they were treating Venezuelan cops this way. And while I don't have a whole lot of respect for Venezuela, I do have respect for cops everywhere because they're at least trying to do their jobs. So if you attack a cop, whether it's in Venezuela, Mexico, the United States, you deserve to be put down for it.
I saw a video where a guy at an apartment complex was standing in the courtyard screaming at the apartment people. And I'm not sure who the people were, but it was some people in power of something. It's gone viral now. This guy screaming at him saying, y'all raised the rent up. We've been here, born here, living here. And y'all raised the rent on us. But these MFers are staying here. Free. Y'all let them stay here, taking them in. And y'all raised the rent on us. We've been here trying to make it. I work a job 40 hours a week. I can't pay my rent, but y'all letting these dudes stay for free. But y'all pick the rent up on us. I guess to subsidize them living here for free. Dude was like burning out. I felt for him because I feel that. That's
I think the statistics are showing that the low-income males are the ones that are being impacted the most by illegal immigration. So if you are a low-income male in the United States, whether Whether you're black, white, Hispanic, or whatever, it doesn't matter. If you're a low-income male in the United States, the people that are coming in are taking the jobs that you could be taking, or they're not working at all, and they're taking money from the government to do nothing. So either way, we're in a bad situation. Now, if we had people that we were controlling coming in and we were putting them in places where they could be of use, that is an argument. But we're not doing that. We're letting them all in. We're letting anyone and everyone cross the border. We don't even know who we're letting in. And we're getting people like this incident in New York. It's become more and more common in major cities across the country. And what's gonna have to happen? You're gonna have to have a crackdown. And what's that going to impact? It's gonna impact everyone, not just the illegals, but everyone. And if we lose more civil liberties as a result of this nonsense. So I mean, I just don't understand the mentality of this.
I hope we can
It's all about democratic power grab, for sure.
Yeah, and I hope we can come to a solution soon, because I don't want to hinder somebody that wants to better their life by coming to the great country like we have here. I mean, it has its faults.
Yeah, if you
America
want to
ain't
be
perfect.
an American, we want you here.
America ain't perfect, by all means, but we have it a lot better than most other places. So I don't blame anybody from wanting to be a part of that. And I would love to welcome it, but it has to be through the right channels.
It has to be controlled. I mean, what we have now is we have literally an invasion, and there are literally people who have guns that are coming across the border.
I saw that.
Whether they're associated with the cartels and things like that. So people don't want to call it an invasion. They want to call it a migrant crisis. Well, not all of them are migrants. Some of them are armed migrants, illegal armed migrants. That's an invasion, folks. I mean, these are military-age males with weapons crossing our border illegally to do nefarious businesses, whether it's drugs, weapon smuggling, people smuggling, sex slavery, whatever the case may be. This is an invasion. The cartels are aiding it. The Biden administration is backing it. I mean, we are literally looking at a federal government who is physically aiding and abetting in human smuggling across our border in the guise of humanitarianism. And I'm sorry, it's not humanitarian. It's illegal. And any Border Patrol agent who is conducting themselves in this manner, you are doing illegal things, and you need to stand up to your government to tell them no. If you don't stand up and say no, nobody will. And so if you don't, and if I look at a Border Patrol agent and I ask you, did you stand up are you standing up against this? And you say no, you've lost all respect in my. You're an employee of the federal government. You have an obligation to follow the laws of the Constitution. If you don't do it, you're a criminal yourself, and you should.
But I mean, at the same time, I'm also going to put respect on border, because that's a hard job. A border, that's a dangerous, scary, hard job.
Yeah, and they're being put in an impossible position, which is why I think that now is the most important time.
I feel bad for them.
I do too. But at some point, you have to stand up for your beliefs and stand up for what you believe in. And if you continue to act in this manner, you continue to conduct human smuggling operations, you're just as bad as the Nazis at Nuremberg who say I was just following orders. Following orders was proven not to be a good excuse. You break the law, you go to jail, regardless of whether you wear a badge or not.
Yep. And, well, on that note, we're going to go ahead and bring this to a close. So, Mr. Jedi Master Fatass, anything else you want to cover before we put a nice little tight bow on this episode of the Buffet Hour?
Just want to apologize for not hitting y'all up last week. Just a lot of things came down and a lot of stuff happened, and we do apologize for that. We're going to try to get back on a normal schedule. But yeah, we do apologize about that, and we're looking forward.
Consistency is very hard.
Yeah.
Life comes up. Consistency is hard. So, yeah. We'll be back next week with another exciting and, share us around. I didn't finish that, but I'll get back to that phrase I was about to say.
Like and subscribe, guys. Like and subscribe.
Yeah, share us around if you guys like what we have to say. We're just two normal dudes giving our takes. If you don't care to hear it, we understand, but hopefully you do. So, yeah, just share us around, and, well, we'll go from there. And, well, for Jedi Master Fatass, I'm Jockkick Zombie, and over and out. Peace.